So, I'm going to show you a little bit about the assignments dashboard and then analyzing the data. When you assign an assessment or a test to a class, it'll show up here. The title of the assessment shows up first, and then any classes that you assign it to show up underneath it. So, if I click on that, it will shrink it. If I click on that again, it will drop down to all of the classes that I have assigned it to. And then it will show what type of assignment it is with these little icons, a class assignment and a some kind of assessment or P for practice, and who it was assigned by and the status. This is all pretty obvious. But if I come over to this side on the right hand side, you'll see analyze, and then you'll see little icons for each of the classes. So these are a little bit different. Analyze will give you all of the data for this assessment for all of the classes. And then these little icons here, the live class dashboard icon will show you just that class. So if I click on analyze, this will first give me my filter. There we go. This will first give me this screen and will show the average score for all of the students who have taken this assessment, how many have been assigned, how many have been submitted and graded, etc. in my performance band. And if you've created a subgroup of students, this is for if you have kids, um, and this is also for the classes too that have taken it. But if you have kids you would like to group together to analyze their data, you can do that. And then under the analysis tab is where I would see the item analysis for all of the questions. And then at the bottom, all of the classes that have taken it in their average. Under frequency, you'll see some different types of item analyses where the most difficult items and what items were misunderstood. So you can kind of take a look at that. And then the standards that were assessed, you'll see that for all of the students. But if I go back here and I just want to see this class's assignment, click on the live class dashboard. And now I have the item analysis of each of the questions and how the students did. This is called card view. If I wanted to show this to my students, you can click present, and that will make every kid anonymous. And it will also, I have very many kids here, but it will also randomize their order. So it'll switch them around so that you can present this if you wanted to. And on the students tab, you'll see how the students did individually and how they answered each of the questions. Only one student submitted, obviously, it was a fake student. Um, but I can then also drill down by status. So if I wanted to look at all of the questions that were incorrect or just the questions that were correct and how the students answered those, I can do that. And if I wanted to change the student, I would click this up here. It's not very visible or intuitive, but here's where I would change the student. And then on the questions tab, I have the same options. I can take a look at the question individually and scroll down to see how the kids did. And it will show across the bottom all of the students. I may have a good one up already. Let me try taking a look at this one. How the kids did on that question and how much time they spent. So if I hover over this spike, it will show that they spent more time, this student spent more time on this question than other students, even though they got it right. And if I wanted to change the question, I would do that at the drop down here. And going back to my fake one, this is also, if I go back to card view, also where you can redirect. So if this student was absent, I want to open the test up because it's been closed for about a week and maybe they were out with the flu. I wanted to open that back up for that student. I can click redirect and I would click either absent students or specific students. In this case, I have a specific student selected, so it doesn't really matter because it was that student was absent and I have it selected, so it's the same. I can choose to give them all the questions, and if I'm redirecting for a specific student that wasn't absent but that didn't complete the test, so let me go back. If I wanted to do this one, you can see that 1B, 2C, these ones are all skipped. And I wanted to open that back up again, I could choose just the ones that are skipped. And so when that student goes to that exam or that test, they would only see the questions that they skipped. But I digress. Underneath the express grader, you'll see all of the students here and how they did on each of the questions. And you'll see the point values, but then if you click on the response, it will show you how they responded to that question, which is pretty nice too. And then underneath the standards based report, this is where you will see a mastery level on the standard. So this is HSL S2-1. Questions 1A and 3D assessed that standard, and the mastery performance is about 50% on that. Um, so this fake student probably got one right and one wrong on that. So this is a nice view as well, especially if you are using many questions to assess one standard, you can see how they did across the board on that standard. And if I have different standard sets, I would be able to drop that down and see that here. And going back to the live class dashboard or the assessments dashboard, you can see some of the other icons. They're just shortcuts right to the reports that we just saw. And if I click on actions, I also have some more actions for that. Remember, this first line here is the actual test item and not that the one that the class actually took. The one that the class actually took is here. So this is the overall test item in any of the classes. And then you can scroll down to see some of the options here.